the National Video Game Museum. It's located in Texas, just north of Dallas. Place is called Frisco. I was there doing some shows, and I thought, what's weird in the area that I can check out and have a good time at? And the National Video Game Museum came up. I went there. I was pleasantly surprised. It is extremely modern. I don't know if they just redid the place or it's brand new, but it is amazing in there. Super clean, super thorough, and it's well organized. It's a one-of-a-kind museum dedicated to preserving the history and culture of video games. As you step inside the museum, it's sort of like transporting you back in time to the early game days. You get to see the first arcade games ever invented, like Oregon Trail, as you saw there, Space Invaders. There's a huge Pong game as well, very interactive, that you can play. I thought that was cool. You get to see these games, learn about them and their impact on the industry as a whole. When you go through the museum, you will see the consoles and the computers from almost every generation, including the Atari 2600, the original Nintendo, all the PlayStations, Sega, a lot of handheld stuff too. As you see, the Atari 7800 there. I mean, a lot of stuff I didn't even know was in here. Games I've never heard of, consoles I have never come across. They also, which is really cool, they give you the opportunity to play some of these iconic games from history, like Super Mario Brothers and Tetris and Duck Hunt. You see that? So this is the big Pong that I was telling you about. Totally interactive, super fun. Some of the old, that's the Nintendo Cube. So, iconic games from history. But, I mean, you should know the National Video Game Museum isn't just about the past. They also showcase the future of gaming. They have interactive exhibits. These cutting-edge technologies they're showing you. They have a virtual reality, augmented reality games. You get to see the latest in gaming hardware. So, whether you're a hardcore gamer or just a casual player, this National Video Game Museum has something for everybody. So, I recommend visiting there, taking a trip down memory lane and glimpsing the future of gaming as well.
Here we go.
Of course, everybody knows the hack, the cheat code for Duck Hunt. Amazing. I never lose. That's amazing. Shit. It's 40-year-old soda. This guy's nothing. Oh. Bye-bye, Glass Joe. They call him Glass Joe because he's made of glass. Got it? Glass Joe. I found it fun to step back in time and play some games that I never played before. You can see the total interactivity of it. They even set up like a living room and a bedroom from back in time and showed you what it would have looked like with a game console. For instance, in the 80s, they set up a Nintendo, and then they had an old living room with an Atari, presumably from the 70s, and that was super cool. They separate the museum into sections like, joysticks, portable games. See, look at that, portable games right there. As I was saying, way more portable games than I even knew existed. Even had a few you could play, which is kind of cool.
What doesn't work?
Oh. That's an old school football.
Oh my god. Elementary school lunchtime.
Oh, really?
Flashback.
What year was this?
1980.
Wow. Yeah, I had a pretty good time interacting with some of the people that were in there. Especially people my age. I was like, do you remember this? I remember this. Here's an old school Atari playing Pac-Man. E.T., famous game. A lot of money and a total flop. We've now come to the woke section of the video game museum. This is a section that honors the atrocities that were done to the Native Americans in video games. I played Oregon Trail. Guilty. But I died of dysentery at the end, so, you know. Yeah, well, I just thought I'd throw a little humor in there. There's some aspects of it that, of course, are silly. Here we have, like, the augmented reality, virtual reality section. This is sort of the future of gaming. You just inhabit the whole world. Oh, the glove. Remember the glove? So the prototype games were very funny. These were games that never made it. So there's probably like one of a kind in the world, and they have them here. It's pretty neat. So now these are pretty primitive, right? You ever play such primitive video games?
Yeah.
Yeah? And do you get any joy out of them whatsoever? Or they're just too simple for you?
They're simple.
They're simple? Do you have a favorite one?
Like here?
Yeah, like an old school arcade game that you actually are like, hey, this is pretty cool.
Probably the Doom.
The Doom?
Yeah.
Can you imagine video games before you could only play alone? Back in the day, you could only play alone. You could actually meet and make friends on a video game now. You could never do that before, unless you went to an arcade and then you met people at the arcade in person. That was the only way. So this is pretty cool. It's like become social. My mom gave me some tokens. I'm gonna go play video games in the arcade. So they had a very cool arcade retro environment that you ended your time at the museum at, and they gave you some tokens to play some games that you haven't seen in a long time, which was fun. I got to play a Michael Jackson game I didn't even know exists. And they had a really cool gift shop. So I really recommend visiting the National Video Game Museum if you find yourself in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It's not only very educational, but it's like really fun. Just a fun way to spend the afternoon and bring friends. Yeah, it's super cool.